Better?
Yeah, that's better.
Welcome everyone, whoever is on the other side. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Kunja Vihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Hari Hari Bamba Hari Bamba
Srimad Bhagavatam Ji.
Hi.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Virayat. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhakti Uttama Shloke Bhakti Uttama. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayanam, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. We are reading Canto 1, Chapter 6, Conversation between Narada and Vyasadeva, text 12 and 13, because 13 has a purport. So, I'll read text 12. Chitradhatu vichitradrin ibhabhagna pujadruman chalashayan Shiva Jalan Nalini Surasevitaha Chitrasvanai Patra Rathai Vipramat Brahmara Sriyaha. Translation. I passed through hills and mountains full of reservoirs of water, reservoirs of various minerals like gold, silver and copper, and through tracts of land with reservoirs of water filled with beautiful lotus flowers, fit for the denizens of heaven, decorated with bewildered bees and singing birds. And text 13. Nalavenu Sharastanva Pushra Chika Gahavam Eka Evatiya Toham Atraksham Vipinam Mahat Koram Pratip Hayakaram Vyaloluka Shivajiram. We're gonna move on to word for word.
Okay.
Nala,
Nala,
pipes.
pipes.
Venu,
Venu,
bamboo.
bamboo.
Sharaha,
Shraha,
pens.
pens.
Tanva,
Tanda,
full of.
full of.
Kusha,
Kusha,
short grass.
shortbreads.
Kichaka,
Kishichika,
weeds.
weeds.
Kahavaram,
Gavaram,
caves.
caves.
Ekaha,
Ekaha,
alone.
alone.
Eva,
Eva,
only.
only.
Atya,
Atyatmata,
difficult to go through.
difficult to go through.
Aham,
Aham,
I.
I.
Adraksham,
Ajaksham,
visited.
visited.
Vipinam,
Vipinam,
deep forest.
deep forest.
Mahat,
Ahat,
great.
great.
Koram,
Gora,
fearful.
fearful.
Pratibhaya akaram,
Pratipayapara,
akaram,
Alpanam,
dangerously.
dangerously.
Vaya, so, Vyala,
Yala,
snakes.
snakes.
Uruka,
Veruka,
owls.
owls.
Shiva,
Shiva,
jackals.
jackals.
Ajiram,
Ajiram,
playgrounds.
playgrounds.
Translation and report by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I then passed alone through many forests of rushes, bamboo, reeds, sharp grass, weeds, and caves, which were very difficult to go through alone. I visited deep, dark, and dangerously fearful forests, which were the graveyards of snakes, owls, and jackals. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is the duty of a mendicant, Parivrajacacharya, to experience all varieties of God's creation by traveling alone through all forests, hills, towns, villages, etc., to gain faith in God and strength of mind, as well as to enlighten the inhabitants with the message of God. A sannyasi is duty-bound to take all these risks without fear, and the most typical sannyasi of the present age is Lord Chaitanya, who traveled in the same manner through the central Indian jungle, enlightening even the tigers, bears, snakes, deer, elephants, and many other jungle animals. In this age of Kali, sannyas is forbidden for ordinary men. One who changes his dress to make propaganda is a different man from the original ideal sannyasi. One should, however, take the vow to stop social intercourse completely and devote life exclusively to the service of the Lord. The change of dress is only a formality. Lord Chaitanya did not accept the name of sannyasi, and in this age of Kali, the so-called sannyasis should not change their former names, following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. In this age, devotional service of hearing and repeating the holy glories of the Lord is strongly recommended, and one who takes the vow of renunciation of family life need not imitate the Parivrajacacharya like Narada or Lord Chaitanya, but may sit down at some holy place and devote his whole time and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures left by the great acharyas like the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. I then passed alone through many forests, rushes, bamboo, reeds, sharp grass, weeds, and caves, which were very difficult to go through alone. I visited deep, dark, and dangerously fearful forests, which were the play yards of snakes, owls, and jackals. Om Atyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayanam Rupa Tadamahyam Tati Swaprantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padagamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagalalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatsute Kopesha Kopika Kantha Radha Kanta Namastute Rapta Kanchana Gauragi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sube Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpataru Vyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Shri Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Narada Muni is telling to Vyasadeva, because on a request of Sri Vyasadeva, he's telling about his own story of how he became Narada. Sometimes it is done. For example, in Bhagavatam, Kumar is also similarly using the same technique. He's telling his own story to a Brahmana, a Mathura Brahmana. So sometimes it is done not for self-glorification, but for educational purpose. To make the point. But Narada has been in this chapter. Narada explains how he started traveling after his mother died due to the snake bite, and how he went through the forests. But in fact, Narada has been traveling ever since. Ever since that his previous life, because in this life Narada is constantly traveling. So, what is the need of this traveling? What's the purpose of it? You may ask. One reason traveling is useful because we have attachment to material energy, and traveling facilitates detachment. Detachment. Somebody may think detachment means to be neglectful, irresponsible, give up one's duties, but this is not what Srimad Bhagavatam is teaching, or not what Bhagavad Gita is teaching, or Narada Muni. Real detachment is not something like oblivion. It's actually just the opposite. Vaishnava is most responsible. He does everything very responsibly, but in the spirit of detachment. Right. I remember when I just met devotees back in the days, and I had spent 3 months during my summer vacation from university studies. I spent these 3 months with devotees, helping them renovate the run-down temple. And so after that 3 months was getting to an end, the time came when I had to go back to school, continue my studies. But by that time, I pretty much lost interest in what I was studying. I think it's the case with many devotees.
You got detached.
Yeah, you become detached, you lose kind of interest in your material pursuits, your material ambitions start to vanish. Anyway, so the time came close, and after my first days back in the school, I told one senior devotee who acted like a counselor or advisor for me at the time. I told him that, I feel the school is so difficult. I don't want to do it. I'm thinking of quitting it. And then he said something that sparked in me determination to continue. Continue and complete my studies. So he said, he wasn't sympathizing my plan to quit. He said that, okay, you feel difficult now to do your studies. What if you accept the spiritual master in future, if you feel difficult now to completing your studies, studies, how you expect to follow his instructions, the instructions of the spiritual master, which sometimes may also involve some challenges, some difficulties, right? And that clicked to me, and I decided, yes, makes sense, and I continued my studies, and in fact, my whole consciousness changed from that moment onward, because now I did my studies for Krishna. I did it as a service to Krishna, and actually my results improved immediately, because my mood changed. I did it for Krishna, in a mood of detachment, as a service. And yeah, it was like big transformation. Just one switch in the consciousness, and everything changes, right? Yes, so detachment. But detachment, sometimes we see some people sleep on a street or on a park bench, some homeless people. You can say that they also perform austerities, right? They live like sadhus, in one sense, right? But they don't get, unfortunately, the full benefit of their so-called renunciation, because they don't follow the purifying process of devotional service. So, the bum may live under the tree, or devotee may live under the tree. Just example, the bum is doing it because he's lazy, he doesn't want to work, but devotee is doing that because he's fully engaged in Krishna service, and he doesn't want to divert his attention and energy for economic development or personal maintenance. Right? Maybe they both are begging. The bum is begging to buy beer, maybe, or cigarettes, and then the pure devotee is begging to benefit fallen souls. So, that sense, that they're not on the same level. So the motive is what makes the difference. Yes, so traveling facilitates that detachment. It was nice last time when I remember in one lecture, Srila Prabhupada, he asked devotees, I don't know where was it, somewhere in America, possibly in Detroit Temple. But Prabhupada tells in a lecture that just what would you say? He asked a question like, what would you think that if I come to your temple, stay here less than a week, and the whole time I'm here, I spend my time making my apartment comfortable and decorating my apartment. Prabhupada asked, what would you think of Swamiji? He asked devotees. This is obviously ridiculous. This is absolutely impractical. Would a spiritually enlightened person do something like that? but this is often what happens in this world, that we want to settle down very comfortably here. Right? Materialistic society has a great concern about economic development. And why is that? Because if you have economic development, what's the next step? Enjoyment. You can enjoy senses. So, therefore, devotees, transcendentalists, they seek to cultivate detachment, not increase their attachment to the material world. That's the point. They want to shift their attachment to the material energy, from material energy to the spirit, from temporary to eternal. That's the aim of transcendentalism. in the spirit what Prabhupada says, it is the duty of Mendicant, Parivrajacacharya, to experience God, the varieties of God's creation by traveling alone. To travel alone. But in other sampradayas like groups, like Madhvacharya, Sri Sampradaya, even Shankara sannyasis, for them it's almost like a regulated principle. Sannyasis cannot travel alone. They have to have at least one companion, like a brahmachari usually, with them. It's rule. Somebody who is helping them and protecting them. It makes a lot of sense to look around with what the Kali Yuga is.
Oh, yeah.
But here it says sannyasi. The duty of sannyasi is to travel alone to dangerous places. Why is that? Because by being alone, obviously you're more dependent on Krishna, and then you have to have that faith that doesn't matter wherever I go, Krishna will protect me. Krishna will provide for me. Krishna has my needs already covered. Yoga Kshemam Baham, you know. And, there's a saying that on every crane, food crane, there's someone's name written. So it means every crane is meant for somebody. And yes, so sannyasi is meant to be fearless. Super soul is always with me, and soul is eternal. Soul can never be destroyed. To gain faith in God and strength of mind, Prabhupada says. And Srila Prabhupada followed the same spirit. You know, when he went to America with Jaladuta, he wasn't thinking, oh, it's so scary, you know, Jaladuta, I'm alone, I may die. And even when he arrived to America, first, you know, he lived in this Butler, Pennsylvania, which is like kind of quiet place. While he was there, he was thinking, oh, what am I doing here? The New York City is the place to be. Mm-hmm. That's where things are happening. That's where I have most opportunities for sharing Krishna consciousness. And so he wanted to leave this Pennsylvania, go to New York, and then this man Agarwal, in whose place he was staying, he's trying to convince him, Swamiji, no, don't go. How will you live there? You will die. But and then anyway, Prabhupada went anyway because he thought this is his mission. He cannot accomplish his mission in that quiet place. He needs a receptive audience. And so he went to New York, Bowery, right? Bowery was the place. And even while he was there, people were telling Prabhupada, oh Swamiji, this Bowery is extremely dangerous place. It's full of rogues and thieves. But Prabhupada explained that I was not afraid. Because in that sense Prabhupada is fearless, but it's not a type of fearlessness where you close your eyes and you walk over the highway or something. Krishna will protect me. You know. But Prabhupada, he accepted everything favorable for spreading the movement. That type of fearlessness is different. And another occasion was when Prabhupada was in Calcutta. He was already came back to India with his Western disciples to help spreading the movement in India, and he was preaching in Calcutta on a bundle program. Devotees arranged huge bundle, tens and thousands of people in the bundle, but at the time there was communist party who didn't like the religion. They didn't want to see people becoming religious, and so some of these communists were in the audience in the pandal, and they sent a messenger to the stage to Prabhupada with a message which says, "Fly or die." And then Prabhupada said to the messenger who gave this, "Please tell your guys I want to speak with them after the program." Prabhupada was fearless. And then actually after the Panda program, Prabhupada spoke with them, these communist leaders, and they were charmed by Prabhupada. They were charmed, and I don't know exactly the details what Prabhupada spoke there, but ultimately they ended up doing nothing bad.
Yeah. Because they were charmed, and you wouldn't have expected that type of reaction from Prabhupada. Well, obviously, Prabhupada's Prabhupada, but any normal person would have reacted like that.
Yes, it's like totally fearless.
Yeah.
Amazing. So sannyas, yes. So like Narada Muni and Srila Prabhupada, traveling is our family tradition. They say, Rolling Stone doesn't gather moss. Well, here today, gone tomorrow. This is a traveling, but if you're young, traveling is fun. Okay, of course. But when you get older, it becomes strenuous. Like airplane travel becomes really difficult if you get older. And sometimes, jet lag, right? Jet lag. But Prabhupada was totally undisturbed by the traveling. Quite amazing. He wherever he went, he straight away plugged into his schedule of translating, morning walks, speaking, meeting with people, giving lectures, morning programs. Everything was like, on another continent. Like totally, it didn't touch him almost.
Amazing.
70 plus years old.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't an old, weak man. But nowadays, sannyasis also travel. Sometimes I hear sannyasis, they wake up in the morning and, where am I? Then it takes some time to kind of remember where they are, where's the new location. But so one sense it's our family tradition because Narada Muni got cursed. Narada Muni got cursed by Daksha to not be able to stay in one place more than 3 days. And Prabhupada said, the parents of my disciples have also cursed me in the same way. But he said, but I transferred this curse to my disciples. So the one reason Prabhupada was traveling so intensely was he to show example to his sannyas disciples, especially how they should do and continue. So yes, so sannyas is meant for accepting extra trouble, extra austerity in the service of Krishna. Sannyas is not to have comfortable life, have a Mahaprashadam, to have your right, enjoy the facilities that your people who admire you will provide you. This is absolutely not the purpose of sannyas. And so there are traditionally there are 4 types of sannyas, right? 4 levels of sannyas. Let me see. Kutichak, Pahudak, Parivrajakacharya, and Paramahamsa. So four levels. Kutichak, first level, one moves to, from a home to the side of the village. To the side of the village where relatives still keep bringing food. Then next level, one moves further away and starts being less dependent on the family, previous family members, and instead starts bathing in nearby places. And then third level is Parivrajacharya. Parivrajacharya means one starts traveling far and wide. And then fourth is Paramahamsa, which means the highest level. But at the third level, Parivrajacharya, which is mentioned here in the purport, it is the duty of mendicant, and in brackets, Parivrajacharya. So this Parivrajacharya level is especially important because it demands dependency on Krishna. It makes one dependent on Krishna. And dependence on Krishna is something that has to be cultivated, has to be developed, practiced. And it makes a lot of sense. How can you depend on Krishna unless you experience and gain faith that Krishna is dependable? Yeah, right. And well, in my own service of stage performances, it's something very stressful, you know, being on a stage in front of thousands of people day after day, have to put on, you know, good quality show. I feel great responsibility on me to not mess up the show, because, you know, there's a lot of arrangement behind the festival as an organization. So I have a great weight of responsibility on my shoulders. That really forces me to depend on Krishna. Really, before each performance, every time before I step on the stage, I like praying to Krishna, please help. But another point is that dependence on Krishna has to be genuine or legitimate. What I mean by that is that, well, in my case, if I have done everything I can in my power to prepare myself, to practice and train as hard as I can, as best as I can, prepare myself, my body, my movements for the presentation that I'm supposed to do as a service, unless I've done my best, you know, the dependence on Krishna is not really genuine. But as far as I've done my best, I can really honestly, you know, say, Krishna, I've done what I could. Now you please take over. Yeah, so please, Krishna, make me dance with sticks or swords or whatever you like. Of course, there's a Prabhupada's prayer before he arrived to Boston. But yeah, so there's dependency on Krishna. It requires practice. It requires knowledge. It requires higher taste. All these ingredients are necessary for actually being able to depend on Krishna. And in this way, one becomes fearless. Of course, it's not that we join the Krishna consciousness movement and we automatically become free from fear just by joining the movement. No, it has to be cultivated and developed. And the whole point of it is that the whole purpose of life is Ante Narayana Smriti. At the moment of death, we're able to remember Narayan. And that's why we need to cultivate or learn how to be dependent on Krishna. So that at the moment of death, at the last moment, the most crucial time, time of the greatest need, when we leave the body, we're so well practiced to depend on Krishna that it becomes like automatically. So, and this is one reason why why this transcendentalist sannyasis, why they travel. They purposely put themselves into a situation where they're forced to depend on Krishna, and thus they're forced to make spiritual advancement. Yeah, as harsh as it may sound, but Prabhupada says in purport, in this age of Kali, sannyas is forbidden for ordinary men. Why? Because ordinary men they will misuse this position, and ordinary men, as I understand, refers to somebody making a living by putting on saffron clothes. This is like ordinary men. This is, as I understand, purpose. Somebody who makes living. As sannyas is not that you find out who has a good food, who cooked the good food, and you go taking in their house. That's not called dependence in Krishna or renunciation. Well, actually, sannyas is meant to go to the beg in the householder's home only to benefit householders. Or like Shukadeva Goswami, he stayed only as long as it took to milk a cow.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, there's the traditional understanding that sannyas would stay more than 3 days in one place. And in one sense, people, it's good to move on. People get anyway tired of you after 3 days if you stay too long in someone's place. But so Srila Prabhupada and Vedic scriptures encourage this detachment and this the spirit of renunciation is not only meant for sannyas. Actually, it's meant for all orders. And Srila Prabhupada he coined the phrase Prihasta Sannyasi. Prihasta Sannyasi sounds contradictory. Prihasta Sannyasi. But actually it's not, because everyone is meant to cultivate this detachment. And householders are householders who are actually fully absorbed in the process of hearing and chanting, who use their senses only for, to produce God-conscious children, and also who are engaged in spreading the message of Krishna consciousness to others at the same time. Like a Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, like a turtle or tortoise pulls the senses in when they're not needed, and then uses them when they're needed for Krishna's service. So, in the same principle, householders who follow that standard strictly, as good as sannyasis, and that everyone is meant to strive for that. Of course, in ISKCON now, sannyas, there's sannyas list. Sannyas list, you cannot just out of a sudden take sannyas. There's sannyas list, or how do you say, waiting list, yeah. Waiting list where you have to wait for a certain amount of years, maybe 5 or 10 years, whatever. But when Prabhupada was on the planet, he gave sannyas so liberally. Sometimes he gave sannyas to 19 years old boys. People may ask, how can you expect someone so young, someone who has hardly any experience in Krishna consciousness, maybe someone who's coming from very sensuous background, how can you expect them to maintain their vows? Right? But one thing was sure, that Prabhupada needed sannyasis to expand the movement in a very short time, quickly. But also those who those who very strictly follow Prabhupada's teachings and instructions, and those who don't misuse their free will, they will be able to maintain their sannyas vows by the mercy of Prabhupada. But anyway, that's another topic. So yeah, so sannyas is not that sannyas requires certain consciousness, and it doesn't work that I change my consciousness into sannyas consciousness after taking sannyas. Doesn't work like that. But sannyas is rather, it's like a recognition that if somebody is already living that lifestyle, having that consciousness of renunciation and surrender to Krishna, and also one has to be very learned in scripture. In that case, sannyas is very good. It's like, oh no. Okay, we have fun here. We have fire alarm. I think we need to take care of that.
Okay.
I think Amanda knows how to switch it off.
Okay.
Woo. Material world. Yeah. I'm not sure if anybody can hear something. Yeah, it's really hard to focus on lecture when alarm is going off. Please bear with us. We'll try to sort this out. Okay, we're back. If you're still there. Yes, first the alarm went off somewhere else in next building, and that kicked off our alarm. Very strange. Anyway, we're gonna continue. Where were we?
But
Yes.
sannyas.
About sannyas,
And
right?
it's not just that you can, take sannyas and develop it as you take sannyas. It should be present in you before you take sannyas.
That's
A
right.
certain mood,
Yes, so
pronunciation.
yes, so Prabhupada says, Prabhupada starts off the purport by saying that it is the duty of the mendicant, right, to travel. And then in the end of purport, Prabhupada says, in this age, devotional service of hearing and repeating the holy glories of the Lord is strongly recommended, and one who takes the vow of renunciation of family life need not imitate the Parivrajacacharya like Narada or Lord Chaitanya, but may sit down in some holy place.
And read the
Yeah.
scriptures of the 6 Goswamis.
Right. And so Prabhupada seems like there are two options: to follow the example of Narada Muni and Lord Chaitanya,
Yeah.
or to sit down in holy place. And this looks like Prabhupada's referring here in the last part that the one who is sitting down in holy place to be absorbed in repeatedly chant and hear holy scriptures. You're referring more to vanaprastha.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. So yes, one may sit down in some holy place and devote his whole time and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures left by the great acharyas like Six Goswamis. So, in order to sit down in holy place and devote one's whole time and energy, one has to have a faith, certain level of faith.
Yeah.
You can't just do it. And Prabhupada explains that faith depends on the purity of heart. Level of faith depends on the purity of heart. And purity of heart, how do we purify that heart? Well, actually, we cannot purify our heart. It's not in our power. You know, it's not that you just decide, okay, today I'm going to purify my heart. Yes, we know the process is chanting, that's right. But what the process of chanting does, it invokes the mercy. Yeah, the mercy of Krishna. And Krishna is the one who has the power to purify the heart. We have not that ability ourselves. And of course, we know that the fastest way to get Krishna's mercy, by which he agrees to purify our heart, is by invoking the blessings of Vaishnavas, right? There's an interesting verse somewhere in Bhagavatam, I forgot the place exactly, which says, one whose austerity is meager can never attain the association of pure devotees. Quite interesting. One whose austerity is meager. So that means in order to be able to get the association of pure devotees, and in order to be able to get the access to serve them, one sense, to get that mercy, one has to be ready to be self-controlled, disciplined, which is austerity.
Yeah.
Right? One has to be willing to take some inconveniences, accept inconveniences in that service. And then one can get blessings of pure devotees, by which Krishna is very pleased, and then he can quickly purify our heart. And also this sitting down in a holy place and devoting one's energy, it is devoting one's whole energy, being fully absorbed in hearing and chanting. It is not sustainable unless we have unless we come to higher levels of hearing and chanting. Means you cannot do it mechanically.
Right, yeah.
That's the point. You cannot do it mechanically. You have to. You cannot just chant the mantra. I mean, yeah, we say we're chanting Hare Krishna mantra, but actually, if you go deeper, it's not the mantra we are chanting. We're not just chanting mantra. We're dealing directly with the person. Krishna is a person who is no different from his name. We are in direct contact with the person. And whenever we catch ourselves chanting with a mentality that I need to get over it. I need to do something. I need to get over with this, get my rounds done. Get over with chanting. As soon as we catch ourselves, the alarm bell should go off. Like we had alarm bell here. Should go off in our consciousness. That's not called the japa. That's not called chanting, because we are cheating ourselves in that sort of mentality. We're deluding ourselves out of the greatest happiness and joy, which is personal interaction with Krishna, personal loving exchange, where we can actually cultivate the dependence on Krishna. And And while chanting Hare Krishna, the result of our chanting depends, interestingly enough, it depends how much we are able to depend on Krishna while chanting. We've discussed the point of depending on Krishna, but really our chanting is the most important time we should practice depending on Krishna. And yes, so the mentality, of course, the mechanical chanting can take many different forms. So one manifestation of mechanical chanting is that when we think, I have something more important to do, let me get over with the chanting. This is just one form of it. But as soon as you endeavor or try to do something better, it's automatically not anymore mechanical, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you try to improve something, it's not anymore mechanical. So it's wonderful because at any moment during our chanting, within a split second, when we try to improve our chanting, we immediately connected to Krishna. We're not on that offensive chanting platform, which is Namapara. At least on Namapas, where we're making progress immediately, and then where purification of heart can take place. Yeah, it's just wonderful with this very common sense knowledge. But sometimes I need to remind myself constantly.
Good to hear it.
Yeah. So let's conclude. One sense, we're all like Narada Muni. We're all traveling.
Yeah.
We're all travelers. Of course, externally, at this time, we are restricted from our travels. We're not allowed to officially go further than 2 kilometers from our house. As far as if this restriction is still forced upon us by the government, but interesting, if this lockdown continues, then in this scenario you can't really practice the life of the Parivajikacharya. You can't travel outside, so you're forced to travel inside.
But when you said we're all travellers, I thought you meant we're all travelling through the cycle of birth and the repetitive cycle of birth and death. That's what it meant.
Also in that sense, yeah. all travellers, yeah. Ananda Nitai Prabhu said we're travellers also because we travelling through the cycle of birth and death. Yes, not the best type of travel. We would recommend to continue this type of travel, at least. But okay, it's 8:30, and let's see if we have some comments or questions. Okay, we're connected again. I need to use another phone to access the questions.
Do you want me to quickly say something?
Oh yeah. You have comments, yeah, please.
Yeah, I've got a comment. So dependency on Krishna is sometimes it just arises spontaneously. Because I was travelling in Waterford, towards Waterford, and then I got sick and stayed in a house, and they said, oh, you can stay in our Viking roundhouse. They built a Viking roundhouse. They had a thatch and things like that. It was interesting. It was nice, but there was something in it that disturbed my chest. So I was quite bad, you know. And then I was cycling, and then I was at a gas station, and a petrol station, and there was a supermarket there or whatever. And then this guy says, "Oh, do you want something?" And he was going around buying me stuff, you know. And then this other guy came in. I briefly said hello to him outside, and then this other fellow came and he said to me, he says, "I don't normally do this, but I've got a caravan. Would you like to stay in my caravan for a couple of days?"
Wow.
And that's what he said. And that's what I did, and that was by the sea, so I got better.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to a small town, and I got some inhalers. And normally you can't get them over the counter in the big cities, but they gave me them over the counter there, you know. So Krishna basically looked after me, sorted out. And the same thing happened in England. The same thing, I was sick, and then I went into a health food store that was near. It was not far from Canterbury, and the woman said, "Don't you have any friends? You're sick. You should stay somewhere. Don't you have any friends? Don't you know anyone?" I went, "No." Then she says, "Okay, I'll put you up for the weekend." And I was thinking, should I do? I thought, well, okay, I've got no option. You know, so I stayed there for the weekend, and it turned out that she was a devotee 20 years ago. Her japa bag was on the wall, and she'd left the movement and stuff, but she really looked after me. She cooked for me, and then as I was leaving, she gave me loads of supplements, and these supplements are really expensive. You're talking about £15 a bottle, and she gave me about 7 or 8 bottles of different types of minerals and vitamins and all this, And then and she says, "Thank you for chanting," because I used to chant. I was chanting a lot while I was there. I says, "Thank you for chanting to my chickens." chickens in the garden,
So Anantani Prabhu is telling about his experiences, how Krishna is helping him while traveling through different people, sending him place to stay, sending him food, sending him medicine through different people. So yes, it's the best, really, from my own experience, the best way you can experience dependency, how you can actually depend on Krishna, and Krishna acting to help you is while traveling.
Yeah.
Because what happens while you're traveling is, you're in a situation where you have to enter into the unknown, right? You don't know what's going to wait for you. But when you're living in your house, your home, you feel much more in control over your environment. But while traveling, you have much less control, and you don't know what to expect. And in one sense, for that reason, that matter, the whole planet, everyone is in this situation like a traveler, where you feel very uncertain about the future, very unknown what will happen. How long this lockdown gonna go on? We're all in a situation of like a traveling mendicant, right? In that sense, we don't know what the future brings. I'm trying to access the questions if anybody has online, but unfortunately, because I was asked to not go online straight from Facebook, where I could access the questions, but through another app, which is some kind of live stream or something. That's why I cannot access the questions. And then Amanda gave me another phone with the idea that I can accept your questions through that phone, but this is so old and slow, it doesn't even access the questions. So very unfortunate situation. Krishna temple. Okay. Okay, there's a hope to access the questions.
Okay.
Hold on. It's extremely slow. No, it doesn't happen. Okay. So, because we're not online from the Dublin Krishna Temple page directly, I cannot do anything. I have no access to questions. I apologize for that. I hope you got something out of this class. I hope you got some inspiration, some food of thought, something that you can take away.
Nice point you made about mechanical chanting, that the moment you make effort into your chanting, it takes you off that platform of offensive chanting. So it's a very simple, point, very important point to make. Is that we can be chanting for years and years and years and not get anything out of our chanting, but if we keep making that effort, and then we keep making that effort, we'll advance. And why is it Bhaktivinoda Thakur was saying, was it some poem saying that don't dream about, don't reside in the past, don't dream about the future, dwell in the present and progress your call, because Bhakti is only present in the present.
Nice point.
That's the only
right.
thing. Yeah. So we got to be in the present.
We have
Simple
to
as
focus
that.
on present, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter about the past, whether we've done brilliant chapter or useless chapter, that doesn't matter.
Right.
It's what we do at the present, because that's where Bhakti is.
How you say it? Bhakti is a present in the present.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, nice point to end with. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.